Hey, down here, ASP Tech. Today we're going to go through assembly and install on one of our conveyor systems on 430 Toby on your cart. One thing on these hoppers, there's a little trimming that we need to do. You get close here and take a look. There's a line that's up about 5/8, 3/4 of an inch. We're gonna run the cutoff wheel right on this line and cut this little sliver out of here. Okay, so we went ahead, we trimmed about a 1/2 inch off of this intake of the hopper. Now we're gonna get ready. We've got our weather strip in, our seal. Now we're going to use, they're 1.25 inches. They're 5/16 by 1.25 inches. I call them a butt head, but they use an Allen wrench to hold. So we're gonna start putting the hardware together. One thing now, I've pounded that fender washer to keep it away from the belt. Remember to do that. I'm going to drill 3/16 holes through this belting, and then we'll rivet it in these 3 positions here. Okay, there's also a little bit of siliconing that we need to do. We've got good weather stripping in here, but there's a little cavity that needs to be filled with silicone. So I touch that up here, and I do a little bit along the back side. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put the screen in. Now this is the main screen with like 2x2 squares. We're gonna put this in, comes with the hardware. Carriage bolt faces inward. Put these 2 bolts in first, so you can reach in, put your nut on, then lower it to the hopper and put these clamp it to the hopper. Okay, so we went ahead, we added the spout with the handle. These carriage bolts here are 5/16, like I think these are 3s. Here's the light bracket. We'll be using a carriage bolt here. We don't have one in here right now, but this is going to be a carriage 1.25 inch, 5/16 holding the light bracket on. We got this top end ready, except we're going to, put our lid on here, but we're going to leave that off until we tension our belt and adjust the alignment after the orbit when we get it and we start running this thing. Okay, so on our conveyor now, we do things a little bit different. That square plate that was once on here, we don't use it. Ours bolts solid, bolts direct right to this. It sits, it's cut, it's made to fit that way. The shafts sit, I can just get the tip of my finger through there. Now we'll get ready to install our coupling, our chain coupling. And remember, those shafts are 3/8 of an inch, a little over apart, and that's what we need so that our it makes up for this 3/8 of an inch gap on this double chain. One thing on the conveyor now, we're getting ready, we're putting our flow control, we got our motor on there, we're putting our handles on, and you'll notice here, the way that the handle is, it would make contact with this. So what we need to do, we shorten this handle up about 8 inches, so we need to time this hole in, I think it's 8 inches we move, drill a new hole, cut the tube off. Okay, so now we're getting ready. We're going to install that T-bar, or the bar that this whole thing pivots on. Underneath here, you'll notice we have a bushing. We have a bushing on the outside, 3/8 inch bolt, nylock nut. So it's bar, bushing, and 1/2 inch bushings on either side on the outside with a 3/8 inch bolt with a nylock nut. We've got the conveyor sitting in its saddle, sitting up on the arm here. I leave things like this off until this point. Now it's easier for us to adjust them. We get it into place, we'll bolt them on, and it's adjusted for us already. So we'll put this bracket and the tab that goes up top, we'll do those now. About this, come around here once, and you'll notice this handle right here. I've been taking, and I'm going to do it on this one here, I'm going to take off about a 1/2 inch of this right here, because it'll make contact with this potentially. So I'm gonna take off like a 1/2 inch of this just with the cutoff wheel, and then polish it up so we don't cut our hands on it. All right, so now we're getting ready. We're gonna mount this tab. 2 3/8 inch bolts. I'm doing lock nuts, flat washers inside and out. I'm getting this adjusted so that the front of the tab is sticking through the slot about, I don't know, what is it, about 2 inches. We're going to try that. That's where we're going to start. Okay, one thing about the conveyor right now, the way it is, it's very light on the hopper. If you notice, when I let go, it tends to want to tip up. So here's what we're going to do. On our conveyors, the way that all of them go out, there are 2 additional plates added here for counterbalance. So we're going to take these off the top, and we're going to go and put them on the bottom. Okay, so now we're back talking a bit more about adjustment. We have, like I say, we have one of the counterbalance plates back on top, one on the bottom. That's working well. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about tensioning this belt a little bit. I have the lid off up top here. We're gonna run the conveyor, and we're gonna track this belt. So I've got it tension. We're gonna tighten it up a little bit. Okay, to adjust the belt in this conveyor, we loosen. There's 4 slots on either side, and there's a 2 3/8" bolts, 9/16 nuts. We loosen those 4 nuts both sides, and there's so 9/16 for those. Here, this is an adjustment of push bolt. It takes a couple 15/16, and then we'll start tensioning. Okay, tensioning this belt for the first time. If you look down here, see out where are the slots? Right there. Right here where my finger is. That's how much we tighten it both sides. Feel that this is very tight now, and that's where I want it. That's where we're going to start. Now I'm going to run it, and I'm going to be watching the gap between here and here as we run it. I'm going to let the conveyor run for a few minutes and kind of warm the belt up. It's a new belt. The conveyor is new, and I've got it tracking pretty much the way that I want it. But before I go ahead and retighten those 3/8" bolts, I'm going to let it run a little bit and then double check. See, I'm looking for a gap on this side, matching gap on this side. So it looks to me I'm going to tighten my side a little bit, move it over just a little. Okay, I want to do a recap on this conveyor that we got installed on this 430 tow behind air cart today. So when we got here, the guys had already removed the old mild steel conveyor. It was kinked like they tend to do. They had the hopper and spout removed, the orbit motor and flow control valve. So that was pretty easy. We got here at about 1 o'clock, and it's 5:30 now. So that's about how long it took us. But it was 3 of us or 4 of us working on it. So we started by installing the weather stripping, installing the hopper. You know, the hardware was all there. We got that installed. We went up top and we did the spout. Then we went to work on putting the orbit motor on. Then we went to the flow control valve, got the handles, strung the lines. We went ahead, installed the stem that this sits on, that key crossbar. Got our pin. I kind of explained to you on how we have it bushed out there with bushings. Set it up on there. The next thing we did is we hooked up our hydraulic lines. We started running the conveyor. We tensioned the belt. We kind of went through that. We tensioned it. We ran it. We got it so it was running nice and true. Put our shield back up on top there. We talked about how we adjust these counterbalance weights, so that it's easy to handle. I guess now it glides into its holder there really nicely. So that's really a recap on this. Here we're 4.5 hours into it, but I mean, we've done this before, so I mean, a guy's got to figure on spending a day. I guess that's kind of when I want to talk about these conveyors. If you'll notice, our design. One thing people ask me, we're greasable bearings, 3 shots once a year. Run the conveyor. If you notice, our bearings are set out and away from the conveyor housing, so any dust that isn't getting pressed into that seal. How the original conveyor used tin flangettes, and half the bearing was sharing the interior of the conveyor housing. So that's just a recap on this on these conveyors that we build. Thank you very much.